10 months ago, this was nothing more than a quiet little hillside. Just grass, dirt, and an idea I wasn't even sure would work. But block by block, season after season, it grew into TREETOPOLIS, a living city woven through roots, branches, and imagination. I poured everything into this place, and now we're finally in the end game. Today is the day we finish this build once and for all. Welcome back, everyone, and let's wrap up TREETOPOLIS together. Here we are, episode number 11. Welcome on to TREETOPOLIS City here on Wilderness SMP. My name is Tree, and thank you very much for joining us for today's episode. And yep, it is another TREETOPOLIS sort of city update. Let me just fly up a little bit. We're going to be moving on to the remaining set of interiors on today's build, which is kind of exciting. And today should be the last episode of making anything for this build. Should be. So we've got episode number 11, which will obviously be today's, which you're watching right now, which will be interiors, kind of part 2, as we kind of look to finish it. Obviously, we've got a lot of the interiors done here, like the storage hall and the library in the previous episode. There are still small details to add, and I'll probably add them before the build goes on to Patreon. But the sort of last remaining builds, we've kind of all pretty much now done. So this episode today, we'll go through the final interiors, exteriors, and little bits and pieces that I've been adding all around the base. And then we'll probably do a future episode and we'll kind of talk about that in a little bit as well, where we focus on making more of a world tour to give you guys an update of everybody else in the server. I'll show you the map. There's a few obviously different people on this server and a few sort of enormous builds. We saw Luna's in the last one and Yorick's, but there's obviously a whole bunch of other people, including this amazing sort of Harry Potter build down the bottom. That I want to show you guys in a little video. And then what I'm going to do is a final episode before the end of the new year. So it should be coming out just before Christmas, is a complete start to end build video of this. I don't know if I'll include every bit of footage, but I think we'll definitely try and get as much of the footage in as we possibly can. And that'll be like an end to end, but I'm not too sure. That's something, if people want it, I'll make it. So yeah, if you guys in the comment want to see a complete time lapse of the TREETOPOLIS project from start to finish, let me know whether I should, because it's a lot of effort and I don't know whether it'll be cool or not. It's a lot of footage, a big time lapse, and I don't know if that's something that people enjoy. So if you are into kind of stuff like that, let me know, because the video would be about at least an hour long of just like music, and like we'll do like ambient lo-fi music and just have the build. I won't really talk over it, but it will certainly showcase the entire build process. But enough from me for today. Here is the rest of TREETOPOLIS City getting made. Thank you all so much for watching, commenting, subscribing, watching the live streams, all the stuff in between to get this finished. I appreciate you all very much. And here we go, the last little part of all the interiors. Thank you very much. Right, this is it. Last part. Not emotional. 10 months of building non-stop, trying to get this all done, and we're moving on to our final interior. So here we are making the grand dining hall. A lot of the stuff in here, as I said in the sort of VT sort of beforehand, we haven't really done a lot of the final details. Most of the room and the decor and things are all in. There will be smaller final details that I'll likely go add later for the final download. But we managed to get sort of, I say, most of, I'd say 99.9% done to the point where I'm happy, and I'll probably leave a lot of the finer details for a little bit later in the download. So you guys will get that on Patreon. I'll put the link down below to the Patreon. It's always there anyway, but this build will probably be available around about just before Christmas time, I'd imagine. I've got a couple of weeks off obviously during the Christmas period, and I'll give me a chance to download and sort it all out for you all. But here's the next one. This is going to be the sort of food hall, just for storing a lot of the dried foods like wheat, carrots, potatoes, things like that. That's all going to be in that previous build in there. They're actually right next to the dining hall and the kitchen. This was probably one of the bigger, more awkward ones we had to now do next, which was the hotel lobby. This was 3 individual rooms and a reception area for if people did want to come over to the base, they had somewhere to stay. So using again just a similar sort of block palette that we've used throughout this entire project is the pale oak variants with a lot of the calcite, quartz and diorite as the sort of primary, with the orange secondary accent colour being used with acacia to kind of make it stand out a little bit with the details. And that's kind of, I say this one was the hardest one, because you had to try and make it over like 2 levels, have the floor going down to the right, and try and make it blend in the best I could. Because when I had the idea for this one, it really, I didn't know it was going to be that low, but obviously as we made the exterior, it kind of, the elevation changes somewhat changed. So I think we kind of managed to wing it to try and get it to how we want it. And there was a few people suggesting the streams what to do as well, so lent on them a fair little bit. This is one I'll give you a tour of later when we come to the end of the time lapses, is the trophy room. So the trophy room is where we have the pack called Blazing Caves on this SMP server, and you can compete to get as many advancements as you possibly can. There's over like 1,000 of them, and I've been getting them passively as I've been going, and I need somewhere to store them all. So I've got quite a few, not too many, as I haven't really been focusing on it. We've been mainly focusing on this project and this build and time lapses and content for Instagram and social media and TikTok and stuff, and it's been coming out quite well. So we'll show you that later. Here's the garden. Now, this is one of the parts actually I couldn't find any footage of when I made it. I don't know how. I think I managed to lose the footage, so I did a little bit of a sort of fly through for you all to show you the little garden, the sort of section that we sort of had inspiration to put just beneath the actual cathedral. And I think it turned out quite nice, although I'm probably going to add fish to it. I'll see. Not quite decided yet. Anyways, so from the sort of the middle section here, there was some greenery to be added. So along sort of the top section here, there was 3 trees that I added just to add to the continuous colour and the organic and sort of green feel that I wanted to go for. I still want this to be like livable and habitable. I was going to make it dystopian. I don't know if anyone remembers back to February and March. I was going to do a very dystopian feel where it was all run down and put like pale oak leaves if the trees were dying, and I thought I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it alive. I'm going to keep it green because I think the green complements the white a lot, where if I did the grey, it wouldn't have stood out as much. So that's maybe something, if you guys get the download on it, if you guys want to break this, demolish it, dystopianize it, then I'd love to see it somewhere down the line. But yeah, as I run the sort of the rest of the base, I started to put benches down. So there and there, extra additional pots have been put in, plants, greenery. We used the leaf litter. We also use a lot more flowers around the sort of the base, as well as pale moss carpets, the hanging roots. We have put them around some areas as well, just to make it a bit more vibrant around sort of a lot there. So it's not just a plain canvas. There's actually something happening. I may go add more chests. We do have mini blocks on this server, which I'm reluctant to use, because I know if you download this build from Patreon, guys, you guys won't have the mini blocks. So I'm trying not to use them. But I may add in some barrels and chests to give some ideas. Anyway, so one of the last things I did, moving on to this build here, this is the marketplace. And what I did on the final few streams that I did on the internet, on our platforms, we put it out to Channel Point Redemptions, where people could redeem their own little market stall. So the Mighty Oak, first one on the left hand side there, you can see, and Henry Ford up the top there too. They requested to have some of their builds at a market stall, but with some things in it as if it were to be a store. So there were various things from like potions of uselessness. There was a fire resistance store, skulk shops, apples, sticks. There was a goat shop for them to say, and we just kind of made these little market stalls just to fill in a little bit, but also as a little way of saying thank you to the community for people who have stuck by this build, supported me during this build process. We managed to get it featured on Minecraft's live show and the community pre-show this year, which was probably the biggest achievement of my content creation career, and I know it was only short, but we managed to do it. So inside here we've got a lower ground floor with a central staircase in that building. This was the last one I always planned to do as a little community thank you for people from the community with their little characters in it. So if anyone did use their channel points here, thank you all so much. There is an upper floor I didn't get footage for, but I'll show you that just at the end of the video. And then moving on to the final sort of time lapse of today's is the farms. I did build a couple farms. These are potentially for future builds. I'll kind of keep my cards close to my chest on that one. I did make a sugarcane farm, and I did also make a bamboo farm. Sugarcane because I need the paper to make more books for my library, and what I'm going to plan to do that. And I managed to get a bamboo farm because I want some of the mosaic sort of bamboo blocks if I can too for future builds. So I can just kind of have that passively running. So we made a couple of sort of bigger farms, and you guys know me, I'm a builder. I don't make farms, never normally. So these were just winged on stream. They're definitely not efficient. They do the job, but they're definitely not perfect. But that's us. This was the last interiors. There's this one here. So I managed to get the bamboo farm up, put some storage at the bottom, and it turned out pretty neat. But yeah, I'll hand you back over to Tree. We'll go for a little walk around the base for the last sort of like 5-10 minutes of the video, just going through each individual room, talking about each of them, and ending it on a high note. And we're back. Hello, hello, hello. Bit of free cam just to see me on the other side. Right, let's jump on board. and take you through. So I just thought, in fact, let me change the FOV a little bit. There we go. Right. So that was it. That's all the time lapses done. That's all the interiors done. So let's just give you a little walkthrough tour to end today's video. Obviously, there will be 2 more videos after this, so I will do a future server tour in the next video, and then we'll do a complete time-lapse build as well. But for now, this may be the last time we have this build on. I'll wait and see how the tour goes for that little video, but here we are. So library is obviously the first one up to the far right-hand side, and we'll just kind of walk through each building in turn and show you them. Actually, this build will be available on Patreon later on in the year. And if you're watching this after the new year, you can go download it from our Patreon now. And then, yeah, here's our storage hall. 2 floors. This is my mess. I need to tidy my little shulker monster up. So I'll get that tidied up and put upstairs. Little thing takes you upstairs. I think it's on this side, actually. We'll go up and I'll just show you it. This was in the last video, but everything's set up and ready to go. We're not using the upstairs just yet. There wasn't really a need for it just yet. Little balcony out to above, and I'll just kind of go free cam so you see where we are. So we went from the library on the right, storage at the bottom, to the upper storage floor area. So we'll just jump downstairs and we'll go to the next building. So the next one along is the market stall. So it's one of the last things we managed to get finished on the project, but I think it turned out okay. I tried at least to keep a lot of the market stalls quite generic if I can. Everyone got their own colour, so we'll go with oak first. So the Mighty Oak, thank you very much, redeemed in my Twitch channel the banners to be green, selling apples, and then obviously with their head in the game. So there's still a couple of things I want to do. I'm going to change up the armour to be the matching same colour. And we'll kind of go all the way around. And there's loads of different people in here from Minecraft Melee over there. I see Henry Ford in the video, Kendall, Seamus. There's Marie. Kind of coming all the way around. There's everybody else. All the way back around to Mr. Warlock. And then the part that I didn't show in the video was the upstairs section. So the upstairs section is predominantly where it had some additional stalls to go around the outside edge. So we had everyone from Suta on this side, kind of going all the way around. There's Nico, Math Girl. There's GT and Lass on this side, all the way through, and we had all our final little stands all the way to Blur here. So yeah, so we managed to get a sort of a few stalls, and just for this sort of community to be a little market area, they got their own little lore and storytelling that they might want to have in my world. So moving on, kind of around now to the what can I define as the left hand side, I suppose. There's all the benches, as I said, a few of the different pots, a little bit of the sort of the exterior sort of pale rooted stuff. Into the first one here, this is the farm. Bamboo and sugarcane. It's been passively running. It's been pretty good. Let's see if the bamboo's been working. The bamboo I'm struggling with. I'm not quite sure. I've got the light level right, but the outside 2 don't seem to grow. But I mean, I put some extra observers in after I did the time lapse, so it should trigger off regardless of how high it is now. So it should be at least a little bit better. And then we go into the actual main structure itself. Again, these were all in the last video, so most of these you guys have hopefully already seen them before. The potion room, potions on the right hand side, and then on the left hand side all the ingredients. Up to the next one. The next one up here is going to be the mobs. So mob heads, mob drops, and everything in between. So they all get stored in here. Up around the corner to the left hand side, we now have our armory. So the armory is where we keep our swords, our tools, our weapons, our trims. So there's all the tools, all sets of armor. There's our trims over that side, sort of our normal sort of fishing rods and tools, flint and steel, armor. Spare elytra would normally go here. I had to use one that I've got there, and then all the bows and arrows and shields. So we've got pretty much most of the things. Each building has its own little purpose, and own little sort of meaning. So most of these ones you've probably already seen. So there's Jimbo's house. Jimbo Duffman, one of our moderators that looks after us. His little house, another little interior market stall. Now this is where it gets a little bit complicated because the rooms all kind of interjoin. But the first one up here is the little sauna room and storage hall. So our storage room, our sauna's in here. So again, I'll just go free camera so you can see where we are. So there's me. And we've just went through the Jimbo's house down the bottom, up through the staircase. There's a little sauna. And then the armory is over there to the left-hand side. So can I go back on board? Close the door. Round the corner, again we've got a little sort of porch bit we can look out at, is we have one of the music halls. Now, again, I don't think I had footage for this. I don't remember it being in episode 10 or in the episode that I've just done here. But this is all the sort of music fragments, like horns, the fragments, some of the discs and stuff like that. Some of the bigger ones, so we've got Cat a million times, so we've got quite a few of the different discs in here. So that lives in this little balcony area. This is one of my favorite builds, to be perfectly honest with you all. I think this one here, where it kind of comes out and just sits over the top, is one of my favorites of it all. It's quite modular, and that's what obviously I wanted to try and go for this, is a sort of modular look and feel. Upstairs to the left, and we'll go into the kitchen area. So the kitchen area is a little bit of movement in it with the furnaces, obviously meant to be lit with the smoke. So the smoke's obviously coming through from a campfire to kind of come through the build. But this is where we keep all our meats and our cooked food, because technically in the kitchen it would be cooking, so we put all our cooked food just here. There's not really much, as I don't have many resources. I normally buy like golden carrots for the shop, so there's never really been a need to have all the other materials and other stuff. But kind of looking on, yep, grand hall, little chairs. I might change this up a little bit in the future as well, but we'll see. Round to our storage hall for the wheat. This is where we're in the time lapse was today. So you'll see all the sort of the berries and pumpkins and carrots and potatoes all living here in my little cellar. Now around the corner, there was a couple minor changes here. There was meant to be 2 rooms here, but I decided against it. And also there was a staircase here. I was planning to do another room up the top. So there are room for growth. There are spaces that this could grow into something else, but I've just kind of left it as is. Round the corner, here's the hotel reception. So the hotel receptionist will be here and into the different rooms that are down below. So this is now, if you look at that again from Free Camp, this is the top right-hand side above the library now. We're kind of in this section here. So there's me just over there. And that's the 3 rooms over here that people can come, stay and hang out. Up a floor, let's go up the stairs here and down to the left-hand side. So there's obviously different sort of rooms up here you've seen in the past. The connection obviously to the outside over here. Again, if you'll see it from this perspective, if you look outside, we can kind of walk into the world. So that'll be kept in the download. And as we go upstairs here was the trophy room I mentioned in the video. So the trophy room is for Blazing Caves. I'll show you here briefly with the L button. In Blazing Caves, you've got honestly thousands of different sort of achievements and stuff you can get. Currently, I think I'm on 574. Obviously, I've been playing since May. I should have more than that. I've got about 1,000 in a month before, so we're very much behind, but it doesn't really matter. So there's all the different trophies that you unlock from the pack. And just somewhere to keep them all. And there'll be some chests where I can keep additional ones in the future if I so wish. Moving on to the garden. And the garden here, just moving downstairs. We can see it in person now. Our little custom tree that we made, all the sort of water effects. Still not added any fish yet, but with a little path going around the outside. And that's pretty much it. So other than obviously our drone that got us here, and that was kind of the lore and the storytelling from naturally from within the starter base. That was every single part and every single thing that I did. There is only one kind of bit off to the side. There isn't really much over here. There is a sort of smaller building here with storage facilities for any explorers coming from the portal. So I did think about turning this into a nether storage because technically it is right next to the nether. So that could all live in here as well as some stuff maybe potentially around the corner. And that's it. So I didn't really bother with the cathedral. It's something that I've been kind of mulling over for a while. I think I'm going to leave it just as is. I'm not sure. I still, even right now, you know, the 16th of November, hesitating over whether I want something inside here. I know that I do. It's just time constraints and how long it would take me to kind of make this, because it's a massive room. So I may want to do smaller details and smaller statues. If I do, that'll be available on the download at a later date. But for now, I'll jump into bed super quick because it is that time of night. And what we'll do is we'll leave it there. So it's been an incredible sort of 10-month journey to get to this point so far. It has been since February we started this mega base here, and obviously well before that when we started our starter base and our shop and stuff like that. And I just want to say thank you very much. I appreciate you all watching these videos, supporting us, liking, commenting, all that type of stuff. It really means a lot. I will come back for another episode. We will be doing a server-wide tour. As I said, we'll jump on. We'll start here where I'm at the moment, and then we'll go through each individual person's base. I will maybe get interviews with some of the other builders and talk to them about their inspirations, what the builds are. We'll try and get that done before Christmas, as I said. And then the week of Christmas, we'll probably release the last and final video, which will be a complete time lapse. If you guys want it, that is. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it yet. I'd like to, and we'll try and make a full time lapse video of this build. But yeah, for now, I'll end our video there. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been TREETOPOLIS. This is Wilderness SMP, a community-based server that I play on, and I appreciate you all for watching this year as we've built this project. And I'll just leave you with a small little video just at the end of all of the final shots of the build. Thank you very much. Take care, and goodbye.